What's going on, gardeners? On today's 2-minute garden tip, I'm going to show you all my favorite way to support indeterminate tomato plants. If you're curious about any of the products that I use in this video, they are all linked in my Amazon storefront link down in the video description. When growing an indeterminate tomato plant, it is incredibly important to get them growing vertically and get them up off the ground, because on the ground, they are extremely prone to pressure from disease and pests. There are so many different ways that you can vertically support tomato vines. You can grow them up along a tomato stake. You can grow them up along a cattle panel or fence style trellis. You can do my least favorite method of supporting tomatoes, which is tomato cages. I don't like them because they prevent airflow from circulating and promote disease. But my favorite way of growing tomatoes vertically by far is the string trellising method. And all you need to make that happen are double tomato hooks and tomato clips. These indeterminate tomato plants right here have been in ground for a couple of weeks and they're already starting to collapse under their own weight. So we need to pick them up off the ground and support them so they're less prone to disease and pests. And to do this, I'm going to use the double tomato hooks and tomato clips that I have in this box that I've been using for 3 seasons now. And to do this couldn't be any easier. All you need to do is unwrap the nylon twine that is wrapped around these double tomato hooks to a length that will get you enough distance to the ground, and then hook them on to some type of overhead support. I have an overhead cable, 1/8 inch stainless steel aircraft cable run above my garden, but you can use any kind of overhead cable or any kind of overhead guide like T-posts and airplane cable that you can build yourself that'll give you enough elevation. Then once we're sure that there is enough slack in the twine to reach the bottom of the plant, we are going to take one of these tomato plants and press the twine up against the center of the tomato clip and pinch it together so it holds, and then we're going to feed it underneath the plant, and we're going to grab a hold underneath one of the nodes, and we're going to press it, and that right there is going to support the tomato plant. And then we have an option after this. We can either place another clip here in order to grab the next node of the tomato plant, or we can take the string and very gently wrap it around the tomato plant to help give it just a little bit more support. And when you do that, it will hold the tomato plant straight up. Now we're going to do the same thing to this tomato plant. We're going to take the clip, we're going to clamp it onto the twine, we're going to bring it around the back, we're going to grab it right underneath one of the nodes, and then gently feed the string around it, and that will be able to pick up the tomato plant as well. After clamping your tomato plant, if you feel that they are still leaning too much and not standing straight up enough, you can simply pull a little bit of slack out of the twine like that by wrapping it around the top of the double tomato hook, and that will pick up your tomato plant off the ground even more. And here you can see the final result of all of the indeterminate tomato plants tied up using double tomato hooks, synthetic twine, and tomato clips. Now you may be asking yourself, well, this is easy. How strong can this possibly be against wind? After all, it's just a simple string. Well, the answer to that is very strong. Here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, we get a ton of tropical storm and hurricane activity, and I have successfully used this method to support my tomatoes through tropical storms of 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, no problem. And the reason why it works so well is because where a stationary stake would tie the tomato to it and be very rigid, these strings sway in the breeze, so they alleviate all that air pressure. So that's why they're so incredibly strong. They bend instead of act as a rigid barrier. And if you were to get severe winds like a hurricane, this is the best part. All you have to do is detach the clip, and you can lay the entire plant down on the ground so they won't be subjected to winds at all. I've also done that, and I've simply laid my plants on the ground during a real deal hurricane, thrown a tarp with some bricks over it, and I had no damage at all. And the next day I just picked them up and reattached them to the trellis. It's for this reason that I recommend not tying up this string and securing it to the ground. Some people like to put a stake in the ground and tie this twine around it to give more rigidity. Don't do that. You want the tomato plants to be able to sway in the breeze. That's the whole point of this system, and it's why it makes it so strong. This method of growing vertically will revolutionize the way you grow indeterminate tomato plants, and it's also great for vining plants like cucumbers and small fruited melons as well. And that's today's 2-minute garden tip. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.